First of all, I just got to do this before I start. Can you hear that?
I can. Very funny. Very funny. Well, I wasn't sure what I was about the other day. It was very made me laugh. That did.
That's just so. Sorry for everybody watching. That is just a little funny thing. I was coming back from a film shoot the other day, and I was stuck in traffic, and I just reached in and grabbed a DVD out of the glove compartment. It's ABBA's great, ABBA Gold. You know that one that everybody's got. And I put it on, and oh my God, talk about take you into a different space. And like ABBA made some seriously good songs, let me tell you. And I Have a Dream was just like, it's got some fantastic lyrics. So I put the lyrics on Facebook the other day, and Tony Mardon, who I've got with me, I'm going to introduce in a minute. Tony Mardon kind of straight back, I believe in angels, which was just a bit of a giggle. So I played it for him there. I was so excited to speak to Tony today. This is my continuing project where I'm talking to some cool people that I know just about, you know, how they negotiate their path through life. And Tony's a brilliant spirit. I only met Tony a few months ago, but I feel like I've known him for ages. You know, it would just be fascinating to see what he's got to talk about. So partly this project is about, as I've said before, it's about stories. It's about the stories of our lives and, you know, how fantastic they can be, but also sometimes they can we get trapped in stories of the past and everything. So maybe that will come up today, maybe it won't, it doesn't really matter. But here's Tony Mardon, who is lovely said off there. Tony, you're right, mate.
Yeah, I'm very well, Frank. How are you?
Good.
I'm good.
Listen,
I'm excited.
I'm good. I'm glad you are, mate. Listen, when I was making a list, you know, I was I was thinking of people, and you were on that list straight away. You were somewhere there, you know. I mean, you were first on the list. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
That's what I thought you meant.
But
what
you
list?
know,
you mean the one?
Before we get into what you do and everything, can you just kind of like talk into that? Can you just respond to that? I mean, does that, you know, I mean, I'm not kind of trying to, you know, massage your ego or anything, but that, you know, that's pretty cool. If I was on the list like that, I think that would say something about me. And does that, you know, do you understand that? Do you get that you're that kind of person that really shines? Do you understand?
Not really. I find it quite intimidating. I don't know. I find myself quite mediocre, to be honest. So it's weird because, you know, I keep trying to do things. I suppose that's maybe what you're picking up on, and you know, never really getting anywhere. So I mean, it's bizarre. It's an honour. And I loved, you know, meeting you the other day, you know, the week and month now, isn't it? I suppose, and we had a good chat, and it was say, you know, and I haven't seen much of you, but when we do, we have a good time, and
yeah.
So I don't know what to say about it. It's
okay.
I think, you know, I don't know. I find myself average. My wife would disagree. Keely would disagree. She despairs of me. She's got a new nickname for me, actually. It's called Shambles. Shambles of a man, which is a new nickname for me. Which it kind of acts, because that's I just kind of struggle and shamble and meander my way through one event to another. I don't know really how I'm getting there or what I'm doing half the time, and Keely started laughing last night. Just said, it was last night actually. He said, "You're an absolute shambles of a man," and I'm joking. I mean, I looked at her for a minute and thought, "Yeah, I couldn't deny it."
But do you know what it is, Tony? It's like right there. I think is kind of it, really, because it's like, you know, so many people get in their heads about stuff like that, and you have this kind of joie de vivre. When we met on the set of this thing called The Tunnel, and straight away Tony's shines whatever situation he's in. You're just, it's one of those things that it's really difficult to put a value on, but it's that ability to you know, I mean, I don't know you that well, obviously, so certain situations, but it's that ability to just be able to smile through something and just see a funny side of it, and that is so valuable. And you know, I think it's really funny. We have similarities, because I've been, you know, of the expectations on me through my life, which I found a real pressure, is like, you know, you're tall and you're quite bright, so therefore you should be really successful, and you've way underachieved, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't see any of that, just me, do you know what I mean? It's like, where do you get all those expectations from? And I've kind of internalized them through the years, and so I've, you know, for a lot of years, but I should have done so much better with the package I've got. I should have done so much better. It's complete bollocks, you know. And I've realised it's taken me a long time to do it. Go on, carry on.
I totally understand what you're saying. I sometimes feel exactly the same way. Sometimes, just keep trying to do something different to rise above, or to rise to the level I kind of expected myself to be at, being. Yeah. Like you say, not the brightest, but not stupid, not, you know, but and not quite achieving what I wanted to achieve in anything, anything I've done. Well, you know, whether that be, you know, I keep trying different things, you know, like doing the extras work, and I think I kind of went in and started off really high on the tunnel with you guys, and meeting lovely people and having such a good time. And after that, I thought, well, this extra work is going to be fantastic. We're going to be doing it all the time and meeting lovely people, and we're going to have laughs, and I'm going to get featured in everything I'm in, and Steven Spielberg is going to find me, and he's going to film ET2 in Whitstable because I live here, and you know, but then every subsequent sort of job hasn't lived up to that, and you know, I've less and less has come in, and I just, you know, I don't know, and then I think teaching for 20 years has taken its toll on me, big time, and the last 8 in a pupil referral unit, like teaching complex needs kids, that's kind of wiped a lot of sort of get up and go out of me. So it's not always easy, sort of smiling your way through it. And now I've finished teaching as well. I'm going off on a tangent, sorry. You know, I'm trying to make a career of my artwork and a bit of this and a bit of that. So, and it's come to Christmas, and it's first time, you know, first month I haven't had a salary for 20 years, you know. Cool, at the worst time, you know, November, December. And so there's pressures there that I'm trying to sort of deal with. And I don't know, I'm kind of coping. I'm aware of the fact that I need money for my family and this and that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, but just sort of like you were saying, it's just trying to live up to, or thinking I needed to live up to some sort of imaginary pinnacle that I was never going to reach. Because when you think about the billions of people on the planet, and the very few people who are there, and I have no right to even think I should be there, if that makes sense.
And yeah, exactly. And there's no guarantee that they're even happy when they're there. You know what I mean? And I think that's the fascinating thing, isn't it? Is that you get to a peak and you think, yeah, I'm making progress, but then you just, because of that whole structure, you create another massive peak, and it's like, you know, you're never going to get there when you follow that kind of path. But it's fascinating you should say that. Let's talk about what I want to talk about with you, is because you've done something pretty brave, and which is you actually, you know, as you said, you were a teacher for ages, and you know, you were fully into that, and it was I'm sure it was great at times, but it was a struggle, and then you've actually decided to, you know, I know Keely's a real support, and I know you've got a lovely family, which is just fantastic, but you know, it takes a little bit of, you know, courage to actually say, I'm good. Okay, I've got that security. It's a bit, you know, it really tests me. It puts me under pressure. But I get that money every month, and that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna give that up because I've got this, and I really want to do it. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah. It just got to the point teaching where I was getting ill.
Yeah.
I suffer with depression, and I've been on medication for like billions of years.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I was diagnosed with bipolar as well,
Right.
which, you know, not it's in common knowledge, but it's not something I now feel ashamed of, as I did at the time. And
Right.
I don't mind talking about it now.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more acceptable, maybe.
Yeah.
So even, you know, something with, yes, I was cool, yeah, I'm bipolar, I'm cool. I don't mean that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is there. It's a factor.
Yeah.
And that and I think probably the depression and I was just failing
Yeah.
in every aspect of my life. I think when I was towards the end, and I'd wake up moody, I'd come in moody, I'd hate everything about teaching.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I just couldn't do it, and I dreaded going. I stopped the car and I just said I can't go in, and I went to my doctors.
Wow.
I was signing you off for a bit. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I was close to, I think, total breakdown. That's how I felt inside anyway.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
and I didn't know at that point. I didn't know what, I had to think about options. So
Yeah.
I had some time off. I knew I didn't want to go back. And I just started doing a bit of artwork again. But again, it's one of those things where I never thought I was quite good enough. It was like I was talking about earlier, never quite achieving. I was always the person that people would ask to do something for them, but never felt I was good enough to get paid for it, if that makes sense. I think, if that makes, I don't know if you know what I mean. Just people say, can you just do this for me? Can you just do? Oh yeah, of course. So I'd do it and really get much out of it. But anyway, so I'm starting. I'm having a go. And we'll kind of see what happens. It is very scary.
So can we talk about, because that's really fascinating. I mean, everything you just said resonates with me. I totally get it. I've had a huge problem valuing the things that I do naturally that I'm good at, which is, I'm a pretty good writer. But, if I wasn't Shakespeare, Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky all rolled into one, then I was a bit of shit. Do you know what I mean? That was kind of how it was.
Exactly.
Struggled to, I'd write good stuff and struggled to get paid for it and that kind of thing. So that kind of valuing your own self-worth has been, historically has been a bit of an issue. But I want to kind of hone in on that, on the art, because you do some fantastic artwork, and I think this is fascinating. I'm almost 90% sure there'll be people that watch this that have something in them that they've, I don't know if hidden it away is right, but it's there and they want to do it, but you kind of get wrapped up into the complexity of your life, and that thing kind of just, it just embers in the corner. Do you know what I mean? How did you resurrect that? How did you because I love your artwork, and what I love about it is that it ties in your love of, horror genre movies, and you actually you paint and create art into that passion, which is so cool. So, but talk about the art though. Where did that come from? Is that something that's always been with you?
Yeah, my degree's in fine art. I did my degree.
Oh my God! Who knew?
My degree, I did it when it was CIAD in Kent Institute of Art and Design in Canterbury. It's called University of Creative Arts now, I think.
Right.
That's why I ended up moving to Canterbury, because I was brought up in Gillingham, Medway.
Got it.
And then I've sort of been in this area ever since. And I loved I did a BTEC then, I loved it. And then in my degree, I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit. I found it very pretentious, very
funny.
Just odd people thinking they're, I don't know, creating something amazing by not doing anything, if that makes sense, or having these very mediocre ideas, and then and getting first and think I never quite understood it, and talking about their art as if it was something very special. But I look at it and think, oh gosh, really. And it kind of put me off it a little bit. So after that, I did my teacher training, blah blah blah, up in London. And I've always sort of sketched, done a bit here and a bit there. But it wasn't until I drew something a few months ago that I thought, okay, I'll tell you what it was. I was stuck in a traffic jam on the way to work on the A2. And it was around about this time that David Bowie died. I'm a big Bowie fan.
Yeah.
I had his CD in the car. And anyway, I was stuck in a traffic jam hours on the A2. And I happened to have a sketchbook in my car because someone from work who was the art teacher had given me one. And I had a pen in there. So I just doodled this picture of David Bowie.
Right.
And I really liked it. And it was just, and it kind of sparked it off again for me. So that's, it's bizarre, but so if it wasn't for a traffic jam,
sometimes
I might not started again. But and I kind of finished it off when I got home, and I looked at it and I thought, actually, I quite like it. And it's very rare for me to like my own artwork.
Right.
Because I never like anything I do. In my studio, I don't have anything up that I've drawn. I just don't like looking at it. I've made one piece, I think. I just look at it and I think that could be better. Then I just think, and why would anyone buy it? Why would anyone want it? So that's where it came from again. Bowie passing away and
amazing,
and being stuck in a traffic jam, and then and that sort of tied in with the teaching, and so we turned the dining room into a little bit of a studio for me.
Brilliant.
And then when my mum and dad saw how serious I was, they helped us out with this sort of studio in the back garden, like a log cabin, which is now my studio, which is great.
Fantastic.
So I'm sitting there drawing off the DVD on or radio or whatever, so I can work in there. So it's really nice. It's hard work, I'm selling prints, which is nice.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But it's I'm not selling enough really to subsidize my old salary. But I'm getting there, But I don't mind as long as I'm not teaching. I'm doing a delivery driving job tomorrow for to make some money. I don't mind. I'm just quite happy doing it. I can do it. Fit it into my own time. And just sort of get on with it. So that's quite nice. And I just want some more extras work to come in, because that would be nice as well. I'm fed up being penciled in and then released, all the time.
It is actually the beast, isn't it?
It is.
Something you said there is just really quickly. It just reminds me, that, and I don't know. Again, I think you're talking about things that are going to resonate with a lot of people. When I went to uni, I loved books. I just loved books, and I discovered books quite late, but I just loved reading and everything. And what was interesting is that academia takes that kind of passion and then kind of like puts it through the vice of the mind. Basically, it's all about rationally analysing it and picking it apart. And by the end of my where I was thinking of doing a PhD, I didn't do a PhD, but by the end of doing a master's degree, I was so steeped in literary theory that I almost didn't read the books anymore. It was all about the theory applying to the books. The books were almost secondary, and there's got to be something mental about that. There's got to be something really kind of strange about that. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. We professionalize these careers, but we turn them into something where the passion is almost dead. It's very, very in the mind. And what you really want to do, I think, is write, or you want to talk about books, or like for me, just talking about books without the theory, without trying to pin it down. Or for you, is just to create a piece of art and put it up there and say, this is what I do. There's no judgment about it.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. And I know what you're saying. I think there's you need the theory, you need the the ideas and the concept, and the ideas behind creating whatever it is you're creating.
Sure.
But I think for some people sort of justify what I would consider to be poor work, with very poor theories, very poor concepts, and that just became, I was just watching it all the time, and I'm not saying I was any better. I don't, but in the critiques, all the students, oh yes, it's a great idea, because you brought some earth in from outside, and you brought it inside. It's like bringing nature, it's like nature's inside. It's like, well, it's not very clever, is it? What is this? It's like, and make a mound of earth, and I'd be looking at it thinking, well, I understand what you've done, but it's not really clever, is it? What you've done isn't going to set the world alight in any way. And and I've got a lot of time for conceptual art when it's done well, and if it's saying something, or to me, but a lot of it was, and I understand everyone, students, and I was one, but it was just that pretentiousness of it. Sort of, I just thought, actually, I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Right, totally. I totally get that.
It's a shame,
So talk about let's talk about some of the stuff you've done, because you're out there. I mean, I look at your stuff on social media and I'm like, wow, he's out there, and you're traveling around and you're going to places, and you know what, I've talked to various people, and trying to maybe start businesses or whatever it is. It's tough. It is. You're doing what you want to do, but something, there's the stuff that you don't like doing within that to be able to do what you want to do, like to sell it and stuff. But let's talk about some of the ones, because I've seen some of the things, pictures, paintings that you've done, whatever you call them. But one that made me laugh, because I showed it to Kerry, and she was terrified of the movie Wolf Creek.
Oh,
we set Kerry up one night, and she said, well, she doesn't like horror films, so we set her up, and I said, like Wolf Creek, I said, it's about a 4 out of 10. So she said, no, I don't trust you, I'm going to ring your sister. I'd already prepped my sister to tell her it was a 5 out of 10. So we watched this thing, and she had to actually watch the interviews after the movie to see that Mick Taylor was an actor.
Yeah.
So when I saw your picture of Mick Taylor, which is brilliant, by the way, it just made me chuckle, and I showed it to her, and she was like, oh, get away. It's so good. Let's talk a little bit about, what you choose to do, because that's interesting. We could talk about that for 2 hours, probably. Like, your focuses and where you go. Some of your pictures, you do these kind of, like, I don't know the proper word, but they're all like montages of Game of Thrones or something like that.
Yeah.
Where do you, is it just what you love to look at or to watch?
It's mainly what I enjoy. So I've loved horror films for many, many years. I think, and I said this before, but one of my earliest memories, I remember it was very early 80s, when we've had our first video recorder.
Right.
On a Sunday morning, I'd come down with my mum, and if we'd set the timer right and we hadn't run out of tape and all that, then we'd watch. No one would understand that in this generation.
Anybody under like 35 is like, what the hell is he talking about?
What? And we'd watch the double bill that had been on the night before. It was either Hammer or Universal or whatever.
Yes. Oh, brilliant.
And so I'd sit there with my mum, and I just and watch like Dracula or Frankenstein or Wolfman or whatever, and I just loved it. I don't know how much that is to do with the film, how much it was just coming out with my mum and maybe watching TV with her. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But definitely, it sort of sticks in my mind. And since then, I've been fascinated with horror film.
Yeah.
It's an easy genre to malign. It's a lot of low budget. There's a lot of rubbish. But I still love it,
Totally.
I could just watch it just for the sheer ridiculousness of it. Wolf Creek, I remember, just stuck with me. I thought he was such a cool baddie. He was nasty, and
he was horrible.
Just horrible. And you just and the whole, backpackers disappearing, and it kind of resonates. It's got a foundation based on a kind of true scenario. and actually I showed the actor the drawing, and John Jarrett, he's a lovely
That's
guy,
fantastic.
and he loved it. He loved it. He took one for himself, which was really
Brilliant.
nice. And he did a video for Keely, my wife, as well, in character.
Oh,
which was fantastic. Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. I can't repeat anything he said because it was all swearing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah, no, he was actually lovely as well. So I just do what I like. You know, I did a Hammer piece not long ago. Game of Thrones, I like Game of Thrones purely for commercial reasons. Likewise, Walking Dead. Anything, I thought, you know, if I'm going to do anything at the moment, Walking Dead and Game of Thrones probably going to sell really well. And then things like just like 80s horror, like Creepshow, I love. Return of the Living Dead.
Brilliant.
So I've kind of gone quite commercial. I'd like to do some more sort of obscure stuff.
Right.
That will go down well at the horror conventions that I've
the cult stuff. Like,
exactly. Some of like Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, some Italian giallo.
Right.
Just a bit of other stuff, you know, which would be nice.
No, I was just going to say, I you know, again, I think there'll be people that are going to kind of nod there because, you know, you know, my dad was pretty tough when we were young. You know, it was quite, you know, he was quite closed off, I suppose. He mellowed out when he was older, but we really bonded over sport and his love of you know, sci-fi stroke horror movies. And he would tell me to go to bed early when I was 6 or 7, and he would, you know, I mean, we're talking way back, we're talking, you know, mid-70s, like no videos. So he would wake me up. I'd have to go to bed early, and he'd wake me up at like 10:30 or something, so I could watch, you know, Frankenstein or Creature from the Black Lagoon really, really quickly. Let me just say this: so my dad died a couple of years ago, and I didn't even realise, but I started watching on YouTube. There's a few of you can get some of these movies, or some people have uploaded them. And I started watching them, and the boys would come up and say, you know, what you watching? I was like, oh, this is a great old movie. I watched with my dad, and I told them the story and everything. It's like Creature from the Black Lagoon, and what's really fascinating, they love them. They absolutely love them, and I realised that these movies are pure storytelling. You know what I mean? There's no gimmicks. They're just pure storytelling. And because they're pure storytelling, kids love them. Yeah. Like The Land That Time Forgot, and, you know, Day of the Triffids with Howard Keel, and, you know, the old one.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The one thing that really made me laugh about this whole thing was that, you know, they've grown up with Princess Fiona in Shrek and everything. And so they're kind of like watching one day and they go, do you know what, Daddy? The only thing about these movies is that women are really like all they do is scream. Why do the women just like fall over and everything? And I'm like, good spot.
Really good. Yeah,
we've moved on.
Well, that's a great thing to realise, isn't it? Yeah, that's brilliant.
It was really funny. Listen, when we get to this kind of point after we've had a bit of a chat, I'm gonna, as we go into the kind of last third or something, I'll just throw some questions out at you. So, one of the things I'm really fascinated about, and it's been a long journey for myself, but you know, I feel like I'm inching closer, is I've always been interested in, you know, how we, I suppose for want of being fluffy, but it's like how we be our better selves. And I call it thriving or flourishing. And I'm going to just throw that out to you. How do we flourish? What's thriving to you, Tone?
Thriving to me is remembering to take my medication. and when I take my medication, I tend to avoid certain consequences of my actions, which is really helpful. No, I mean, no. Well, so that is, you know, seriously. I mean, I take my antidepressants, and when I forget, if I've gone a few days out, then Keely will pick up on it straight away.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, that's really important. And I need to get my head around that.
Yeah.
But no, but five. I tell you what, because I've just become a granddad as well. My stepdaughter,
right,
Caris, has had a baby, and I think. Why have I brought that up there? Because, and obviously having children, thriving is about seeing them thrive.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. It's a different perspective, isn't it? On your life.
Yeah.
And
But is it something
what
that is?
it's what
Yeah, go on.
and being, talking about, I suppose, being successful, and always thinking, have I really achieved what I wanted to achieve? And then
Right.
then then it comes back to your family and having, being successful now in with my family.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done something right, because I haven't always been, the perfect husband and the perfect stepdad and the perfect
Yeah.
dad. But I think
Yeah.
at the moment, I think I've kind of am better.
Got a handle on. Yeah.
I've got a handle on it,
Yeah.
far more than I'd used to have.
Yeah.
I don't think, it wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible or anything, but
Sure.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
my priorities were probably wrong sometimes.
Right.
I think just trying to, just seeing everyone else being happy and
I love that.
and is and it sounds cliche, doesn't it? It sounds awful, actually, when I say it out loud.
But I don't. But that's the
Sounds
thing.
a bit, but if you're talking about what makes me thrive as a person now at this point in time, then that's it.
Yeah. But do you know what? That's lovely though, because what I love about that is that it's not about you. Do you know what I mean? The attention's not about what I have to do to make me happy. It's like I'm just getting a massive amount of joy out of watching my kids grow up. That's amazing, because so many people, if you ask a lot of people that question, they're really deep in their thoughts and they're going, okay, what's going to make me happy? What's going to make me happy? And that actual, like, I know what you say, some of these conversations, I'm always saying, God, I sound really fluffy. But when you really get under the surface of it, it's like, if you can take joy in giving somebody else some happiness or watching somebody else thrive, that's fantastic,
It is. I think seeing Karis moved out now with Amelia, the baby. She's got her own place. Abby's, it's her first year teaching. She's moved out with her. She's in with her boyfriend. Jude's doing well at school. He's in Oliver. Tomorrow I'm going to see him in the play. Keely's her business is taking off. She's just got a new contract, so she's doing well. And then there's me.
No, don't say that.
I'm going to go and take a couple more tablets. Maybe with a whole packet. No.
But you're following your passion, mate. I think I think the thing about it is that it's not gonna. The way I see it is that you just don't know what's going to happen. You could. People say, it might take you a couple of years. Well, it might do, but you might have a breakthrough tomorrow. It might take you 5 years. But I think if you're on that path where you, like you say, I think when you start to fit it together and it starts to be less about the story of the expectations of success or anything, and it starts to be about you just managing your life or just going through your life and trying to do as much as the things you want to do as possible. So if it's artwork or whatever, and then you, like me, it's, do I want to be an extra for the rest of my life? Probably not. At the moment, it's pretty cool because I'm getting quite a lot of work. So I just, it's working. It's just it's kind of like, it's all right. It's just fitting together quite nicely, and it's kind of like there'll be a time when it goes wrong, and then I have to try and stay out of my head a little bit. But okay, I've got another one for you. What are we doing here, Tone?
Are you talking about us now on the planet?
Okay.
We are. Well, you're making me feel bad. You're getting a lot of extra work, and I'm not. I don't know. What are we doing? We're chatting about me, making me feel quite uncomfortable, because it's quite hard to talk about yourself.
It is hard, yeah.
Especially, like I said, joking on the phone, talking to a screen. I find it very disconcerting.
Right. Yeah.
Really bizarre. No. Like I said, where's my friendly tap on the shoulder?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I need, you know. But which you obviously don't get looking at a computer screen.
That's so true.
It's bizarre. I don't know. You tell me. I think what you're doing is just chatting to people and realizing that and helping other people to realize that not everyone has to be a pilot or a prime minister to have a story to be relevant.
Absolutely. God, amen to that. That is so good.
And I think that's nice. I mean, everyone has something to say. I think that they probably like the platform to talk about. Whereas people don't get that unless you're an actor or a pop star or a talentless wannabe on a reality show.
The amount of people that I have spoken to and contacted, and asked if they'd be interested in, because to me, honestly, I grew up in a pub. I grew up listening to people chat. I genuinely find people fascinating, and everybody's genuinely got a story. Everybody has, and everybody's telling that story as they go through every day of their lives. It's just that we're so busy now. No one really wants to listen to anybody else's story, and it's
it's not that they don't want to listen to it. It's that either it's just not. It's no time to listen to it, or there's no opportunity to listen to it.
You're absolutely right.
Without it, and I think everyone would like the opportunity to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult thing to do for hundreds of reasons. Talking about yourself is without sounding brash, without sounding cocky, without sounding big-headed, without being boring, and then the opposite, without, it's hard. It's hard when you're put on the spot to actually and reflect on yourself.
Very much. But so many people I've spoken to have said, it's a great project, I love it, but I don't think you're not going to be interested in me. I'm sure you can find someone else that's more interesting, and it's like, no, you're exactly
why I want to talk to you.
Because you're like me. I'm just a person going through my life, and I want to hear your story. Do you know what I mean? We can't tell that story in 35, 40 minutes, but I just want to, and do you know what? I wrote something down the other day. I'm going to do a post on this. And it's like, there is an amazing wonder of just being in the presence of another person. And I think you're right. I think if I can find a way of doing it in person, it would be much better. But even just making the contact and listening to someone and having that exchange of conversation without any judgment or without any trying to get to somewhere. We're not trying to entertain anybody. We're just literally two blokes or, whoever I'm talking to, having a chat.
Yeah.
But having a chat that's not small talk. We're actually talking about stuff. And it's like, give me a flavour of who you are. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of the questions I've asked, and again, you can kind of, go with this if you want to or not. But it's like, if I really want to know Tony Mardon, what would you say right now in this moment I have to know about you to know Tony Mardon?
Blimey. I'd like Keely to answer this for me.
Brilliant.
Or Jude or Caris or Abby or...
But I love the fact you've got such a close family, mate, and that really shines through. Your family, when you invited us to your engagement party, it was
not
just
anniversary party.
Anniversary, yeah. But do you know what's fascinating is that what you've said, and people will watch, this talk and listen to you speak so honestly about a lot of pain. But you have so many people around you that really love you, and that's just blows my mind. Do you know what I mean? There were so many people at that party who weren't just people that you'd invited that turned up and you talked to them and they go, oh, I kind of know him because he's my next door neighbour's neighbour or something. They're people that, like, you know what I mean? It was genuinely. Kerry and I walked away from that and like, bloody hell, that's pretty cool. And to be invited was fantastic as well, to be a part of it. But do you know what I mean? It's like, your family unit is so strong. It's like,
it is. I think it's got a lot stronger. you know, but even to the extent that we get on, I get on really well with Keely's ex-husband, and we go around to his for Christmas lunch. So, but and he's a great cook as well, which is even better. So, but no, yeah, we do, we do, we do get on. We've got our own little lives, and our own little pockets. Where we do our own things. The house is very strange without Carrot and Abby and baby Amelia.
Yeah.
So we've just got 2 kittens to make up for it. I don't know. What I would like you to know about me now is that to know me, you would have to know that I get things wrong a lot, and try to sort it out afterwards a lot. I don't know what to say.
It's fine. It's fine. There's not a right or wrong.
You know what Keely's name? Shambles of a man. That's it. That is. I am shambles of a man. That is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't really got a clue what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just sort of I am shambles.
But the funny thing about that is that you attract a lot of people into your life, though, who find you shine with a certain kind of energy, and it's why your name was on the list when I made this, preliminary kind of list up of people. I wanted to pick people. It was funny because I got my own story about this. I wanted to pick people who I knew that I wouldn't, who I made up a story that I wouldn't get a hard time from, people that I could connect with.
Yeah,
and your name was right at the top of the list.
That's really nice. Well, it's just funny because I'm not the most sociable of people when I'm out, or when I was younger, also I used to like going out and chatting away and this and that. But I've become a lot more introvert lately. Right. I struggle with small talk, which is, I know this isn't small talk, but let's say we were chatting at a party and you were discussing the weather or someone's dress. I'd be like,
football,
football, and I'd be like, oh God. And I do struggle very much with that. I think Keely will tell you that I'm slightly autistic, so which is definitely possible. I like the opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
In this one-to-one.
Yeah.
Way. Chatting. If there was a few of us out, I'd find it very hard.
It's different. Yeah, totally get that. Listen, I'm gonna, my last question for you as we wrap it up. It's been so good to talk to you, mate. It's been
likewise.
Listen. I've not told many people about this, but I've actually been working on a time machine, and I've actually got a time machine, and I can send you back. To talk to yourself as a teenager but I can only give you 5 minutes, mate. So you got to be really quick. What you going to say to 16, 17-year-old Tony?
I would say, get your hair cut. I would address my fashion sense, definitely. I'll be honest, look, I mean, it's quite funny, but I didn't have the best time at school. I was 5'5". I had glasses. I was overweight. I had good friends, but they all sort of got girlfriends and moved on, and I didn't really know how to fit in at that point. When I was sort of 16, 17, 18, until I went to college, I was like, it was bizarre time. I mean, it's probably the same with everyone at that sort of age. I found myself left behind quite a bit.
Right.
I would probably just tell myself to grow up a bit faster than I was doing. Stop wearing Alice Cooper t-shirts. Definitely. I'd also probably, obviously I'll tell myself to, the problem is I went to grammar school and I kind of just scraped my Kent test, my 11+.
Right.
And so I was always quite near the bottom of the academic sets in the grammar school, and I kind of wish I'd gone to a comprehensive and been nearer the top end, if that makes sense. Because I think it would have done. I would have been a very different person. It would have done my confidence a lot of good.
It's amazing that one thing can kind of shape.
Yeah, I think so, and I thought that quite a lot before. And I found school hard, so at that sort of time. But don't say I had fun, you know, and I had nice friends, and I didn't know where I was. I wasn't in the cool group. I wasn't in the other group. I wasn't in a, you know, that makes sense. I wasn't. I didn't know where I was. I probably to go up and tell myself everything was going to be okay. But not for about 25 years. So if you get through the next 25 years, you're going to be all right.
That's brilliant. That is. Oh my God! Listen. I got to wrap it up. But it's been so good to talk to you, mate. I'm really pleased you agreed to do it. And you know, I'll talk to you after. You know, I've got to end this now, but I'll be in touch and we'll go out and we'll have a beer.
Definitely, I like that. Yeah.
We'll see if we can get. I've got a few other you know, people that we're like all dads of young kids and stuff like that.
I don't do groups, remember?
But let's do that. We'll hook up at some point.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as I don't talk about football, I'll be all right.
All right, Tone.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
I appreciate your time, mate. Thanks very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Take it easy, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
See you later.